Alright there folks, hello there, this is Alan recording another comprehensive Magic of the Gathering Arena sealed deck building video. This is going to be our second video, so yeah, let's just get started. First sealed video went pretty well. Let's see what we open up here. Let's crack these packs. And then looking at our rares, okay, we opened up a pretty bomb rare in arguably one of the best colors in this set. Cemetery Desecrator is a complete bomb. 6 mana, 4/4 menace, and then when it ETBs, you're most likely going to use the ability where you can target an opponent's creature and give it -X until end of turn, where X is the mana value of the exiled card. So definitely a card I'm happy to play in any black deck, and always definitely a bomb rare, so this is going to be great. Runo and Kaya, however, aren't amazing. Runo, even though it's in blue-black, a solid archetype, it doesn't really have any exploit synergy. Maybe it can get back Cemetery Desecrator in the late game, put on top of a Librarian, this can transform. Yeah, this card is just really medium. It's a fine blocker on turn 3, can halt flyers if we're playing against an opponent with lots of flying, but this is going to be best out of 1, so not sure if I want to main deck this. And then the creature, and once it transforms, the only way you can make a tapped attacking token is if if there's another attacking creature. So it's a kind of interesting card. When it transforms, it becomes much more of an aggressive card you want, which blue-black is not necessarily always aggressive. But could see myself playing this as just a reasonable blocker, and maybe can have some value with Cemetery Desecrator, depending on whether or not blue is deep enough. There's also Kaya. Kaya is also just not great. Sure, you can just give all of your creatures Death Touch until end of turn, so they can become more aggressive, but it can only put a 1/1 counter on a creature token. So if you're unable to make tokens, and there's a couple ways to make tokens, but not that much at common or uncommon rarity level that you want this. And then the Mind's ability doesn't do much, so Kaya's a bit of a miss as well. Investor's Gator's Journal, I'm a big fan of. However, just play this in any deck. It's nice. It's a nice grindy card. That you can just play early, even if you don't get to activate the ability right away. You can, even with 2 creatures or 1 creature on the battlefield, it can still generate a lot of value in the long run. And once you run out of suspect counters, you can also just sacrifice the Investigator's Journal. So I'm quite happy opening this rare. I don't think it's a bomb rare by any means, but a pretty good one. And then Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, can lead to some sort of white aggressive deck, which is a card I'm always happy to play, depending on how creature heavy I am. If I'm playing lots of non-creature spells, I might not want to play this, but most of the white decks are pretty heavy on creatures, even the white-black life gain deck. So I'm happy to see this. And then Dark Demonic Bargain, probably the most unplayable rare in this set. So yeah, the rares are okay. I'm a big fan of the Cemetery Desecrator, Investigator's Journal, and Thalia, and then these 2 are almost unplayable, and then Runo Stormkirk could be playable if I need some sort of blocker on turn 3. So yeah, let's move on to the deck building. And when you're starting your sealed deck building exercise, luckily we're doing arena, so everything's already ordered, including the mana costs, and the colors are all separated already. But let's just see how deep our white color is. Looking at white, we have Traveling Minister, probably the best white common in the set. Really powerful, good life gain synergy, great at enabling training with the extra power. Plays pretty well flyers. Admin Will could be playable if you're pretty aggressive, could be a fine one of. I am a big fan of the Panic Bystander, even though it's a little bit rough getting the 3 life. If you play this in a dedicated life gain deck, if you're able to transform this into a 3/5 that can gain Death Touch, that's pretty powerful. So I do like this card in the life gain deck. Parish Blade Trainee is also decent, even if it dies in the late game, you can still move its counters onto another target creature. So I think this card's also fine 2-drop to have. Just talked about Thalia. Valor Stance could also be pretty good in this set, since there's a decent amount of 4 toughness, but still feels more of a sideboard card, since there's some aggressive decks with a lot of low toughness, and if this ends up in your hand stranded and you don't have any good creatures to give indestructible, it can become a dead card. But I'm always fine main decking 1 copy. Double Vampire Slayer, not the most amazing card, but I don't mind playing a copy or playing 2 if I need more 2-drops. Bears aren't amazing in this set because of a lot of the 2/3 life-linking creatures, like the Kindly Ancestor and the Heron of Hope, so they tend to get blocked. If I need an extra 2-drop to put in my deck, one copy of Vampire Slayer could be fine. And then Resistance Squad is pretty good with all the humans that we have too. So, yeah, having 2 copies to cantrip is nice. Cigar's Imprisonment, not a big fan, but you'll still play this in any white aggressive deck. You can get a blocker out of the way, and then in the late game, hopefully you have enough mana to spend to exile a target creature and then create a blood token. Unfortunately, it's no Bleed Dry, it doesn't exile right away, but it's removal when you need one. And then could always play S-Ball Shield Basher, and then Heron Blessed Skies could be a decent top-end card. So white actually looks pretty solid. It can be a primary color where we can have some good early game, some okay mid game, and then the late game is kind of lacking. Overall, it's just a fine curve of creatures. So if we want to just play an aggressive sealed pool, we can definitely play white. Overall, the power level of it is fine. It's not like incredible. There's no insane bomb white rares like Thalia. I wouldn't consider a bomb, but just a really solid good card. But yeah, it's really solid. So I'm fine making a sealed pool and having white as my primary base color. Looking at blue, we have Alchemist Retrieval. I'll find one of. Usually you just end up playing the cleave cost, and if you don't, it's a 1-mana rescue, which is a card in Dominaria where it's 1 mana bounce a target creature or non-land permanent you control to your own hand. So Alchemist Rich 1 copy is okay. Wash Away is just a counter spell, playable if you have a lot of flash and instances. Selhoff Entomber is just very medium, can help you loot in case you don't have a lot of blood tokens, and it's just a fine blocker, nothing amazing. Same with the Steelclad Spirits, mostly going to be best in the blue-white deck with lots of auras, but most of our white decks are looking to be most of our white cards don't care too much about auras, and we don't really have any auras in our white color outside of a Sigarda's Imprisonment, so I highly doubt this is going to be much use, other than a good blocker in the early game. 1 Wretched Throng, usually 1 copy isn't great. Multiple copies are good, but 1 isn't enough, but it's just sack fodder for a blue-black deck. Triple Binding Geist is fine too. I guess it's an aura for the Steelclad Spirit, assuming you can get in a yard, but it's also nothing amazing. A fine aggressive card that can become a somewhat way to hinder the opponent in the late game. And then Triple Siphon Essence might be a little bit too excessive. The fact that this can only target creatures or planeswalker is kind of situational. If it could counter removal spells, it'd be a lot better. But it's a card I'm not happy about. I've heard about some pros stating that Witness the Future is quite good, since you can end up decking yourself in this set if you draft blue for the most part. But I see this mostly like a blue-green gold color card, and blue-green I think are the 2 worst colors in this set. So other than that, I think it's fine. You shuffle up to 4 cards, and this can replace itself. Sometimes you can buy the card that you shuffled back, assuming that you're lucky enough to get as a top 4 on top of your library. So I still think it's just an okay card. A Cruel Witness I think is okay. Double Scarathoughts is a nice card draw, and then there's a Double Dreadlight Monstrosity. Haven't been very impressed by this card either, just too clunky. And then sometimes you don't even have the ability to activate the mana sink. So blue is looking like a support color. It's not looking amazing. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of aggressive threats. Like there's Triple Binding Geist, but there's only like 1 flyer, so it doesn't really pair well with our white plan. Not a ton of auras outside the Triple Binding Geist again, but they still need to die. So blue is just not looking like a solid color. I hate to see colors that are weak. However, having a lot of cards in the color is kind of a bit of a problematic situation if you end up sealed, since sometimes you might be forced to play the color just because you have the majority of those colors and they don't end up as good as I can. So I'm hopefully actively avoiding. I'm hoping I don't end up playing blue as my primary color, because again, all the cards are just pretty medium in terms of power level. No bomb rares, and some of them just don't really synergize in the same deck. It doesn't really have a linear strategy. Like this card wants to be in an exploit deck. This card wants to be in a blue-white. This wants to be in a control deck. So it's kind of strange. So I'm hoping I don't end up playing blue. Looking at black, always happy with a Blood Fountain. Can always play a copy of Gift. Feels more of a sideboard card in a set because it can be bad against vampires, but I could always main deck 1 copy. Sometimes you can kill something, so it's not bad. Groom Finery, I'm not a believer, and we also don't have the Bride's Gown, so forget it. Vampire's Kiss, kind of main deckable if you're playing a life gain deck, but also not exciting either. And then double Quarry Bat, I guess you can play Vampire's Kiss along with it, assuming you have 5 mana to do everything. So it could be a nice way to gain some value in the late game, being able to return a target creature card from your graveyard. But usually the life gain deck is in black-white, and in white we also just don't have a lot of life gain. Like the white cards look to play better in some sort of white-green training deck, or white-red aggro, but we'll see. The My Bargain's unplayable. Fellstinger is quite good, assuming we have things to exploit, which we don't really have in black, honestly. Like, the only exploit creatures we've seen so far is like a Wretched Throng, so if we're going to be base whites, it's also a bit of a miss. But sometimes it's not wrong just playing this and then just use it as like a point of discussion, but it's kind of sad if you don't have anything to sack with it. And then some okay 4-drops in black, a decent 5-drop, and then Cemetery Desecrator, a big bomb rare. So unfortunately, black is just not very deep at all. There's some missing components. There's no bleed dries to answer any bomb rares. It's more of a grindier game plan with what we're looking at, which doesn't really fit well with white's theme. And so far, white looks like the only color right now with a solid game plan. So don't know if we'll be playing black, but it's looking very unlikely. Like maybe Cemetery Desecrator might pull me into it, but if it just doesn't synergize with our deck, it's just not looking good. Looking at red, double Volcaren Darren Epicure is fine, nothing amazing. Hungry Ridgewolf, more of a green-red card, also fine. The Kessick Flame Breather is better in the blue-red deck. Same with the Reckless Impulse, nice value card in the late game, but better off in blue-red. Deadly Betrayal is not what we want. Double Daybreak Companions can play good with the white strategy, but also not an exciting card. We might not have. There's probably not enough Vampires in red for Markov Retribution. Same with the Vampire's Vengeance. Yeah, red is just not looking solid either. I think it's definitely worse than black. And if I need to pair white with something, I'd rather pair with black, even though it's not looking powerful at all. I might still do it. Yeah, red is just looking like it's all over the place. Kind of the same problem with blue. It doesn't really have a direction it wants to be in, and the quality cards aren't great, so hoping green can save us. Triple Snarling Wolf is not what we want. Much more for a grindy deck, same with the Toxic Scorpion and the Double Bramble Armor. Apprentice Sharpshooter can be pretty good in the training deck, but then it's also suffering from, I guess, the same problem. It has some strange mill cards that it's looking to play, like some green controlling cards, and then some okay aggressive green cards. I guess there's Trick Cloak Cadet, which is pretty strong, but we also just don't have many ways to put 1/1 counters. So yeah, the Steel Pool is looking pretty lackluster so far. There's Brian Comer, I guess. Maybe we can force blue-white and just throw the majority of blue-white cards into blue cards along with our white cards and draft an aggressive style of deck. I guess there's also Skull Scob, which can reward us for exploiting in blue-black, but we also just don't have a ton of exploits. And then Runo Stormkirk, just fine filler. Ceremonial Knife can play well flyers. Investigator's Journal is always playable. All right, yeah, the pool just doesn't look very deep, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, I think the best color is white, and it's just fine. Nothing exciting. Might just try to force white-black in a sense. But yeah, this is a pretty bad sealed, I have to imagine. Green also has some depth in the early to late game. Into the late game, so we could maybe just go green-white for the most part. So yeah, the strongest color is probably white here. Let's just take a Traveling Minister and try it out. Definitely going to play Panic Bystander. Even outside of a black-white deck, it's just a solid way to gain life. So don't hate it. Perish Blade Trainee can get in. Thalia, maybe one Valor Stance. Not sure about Vampire Slayer, but I'm liking a double resistant squad here to go along for humans. Same with the S-Wall Shieldbreaker. Probably don't have a choice what to play. The Cigarda's Imprisonment, and then play a Heron Blessed Geist. So white's the only one that actually has a solid linear game plan and knows what it's doing. The colors outside that are just scattered all over the place. So yeah, let's take a look at blue again. This is fine. This is not what a blue-white deck wants. This is not what a blue-white deck wants. Steelclad Spirit. We don't have enough auras. Binding Geist, I guess, can be playable, but it's also not exciting. And then we also don't want counter spells if we're curving out in a white aggressive deck. Same with Witness. I guess Cruel Witness could be fine. So yeah, I'm not even sure if I even want to play blue with the Brian Comer here. Like, it's also just an okay card. We don't have ton of auras to go along with it, so it's not looking great. I guess white-black might just be a thing. We can always just be a grindy deck since we have some life gain. going with the Panic Bystander. Not a ton though. So we could like throw in a Blood Fountain, a Gift of Fangs, maybe just double Courier Bat as just filler 2-drop flyers, Fell Stinger, Bloodcrazed Socialite, Bloodsworn, Tide Gargantua, and the Cemetery Desecrator. So at least it kind of fills a portion of a curve, but it's also missing some components. Like our white deck is strong, but I wish we had like one access to a Bleach Rye at least. So yeah, I'm not sure about this. Maybe I'm just forced to play Adamant Will in this deck just to have some sort of way to push through against some bombs. So I'm kind of forced to play the Cigar's Imprisonment anyways. And yeah, it seems like we're more of a white green beatdown deck. It doesn't seem we have some life gain with Traveling Minister and Panic Bystander, but even with black, we don't have a ton. Like the only black cards I'm excited about is maybe Desecrator and Socialite and Fellstinger, but it's also not looking great. And then red also has the same similar problem of not having a real identity here. Red just looks way worse than black in general. Yeah, unfortunately the red sucks, so maybe I just had to pair like maybe white with green or something. If I pair the worst colors with each other, the bad colors with each other, do we even get anything? Probably not. Like there's no blue-black exploit deck going on. There's no real blue-red spells going on. Black-red doesn't really have enough vampires either. So maybe it's just some sort of green-white beatdown deck that we have to go for. We currently don't have too many ways to make counters, but the white does provide us some humans like Cloakadet, the Hookhand Mariner, the Apprentice Sharpshooter could be fine, maybe a Flourishing Hunter on turn 6, and then Investigation Spirit on turn 5. We can always throw in an Investigator's Journal, can always throw in a Foreboding Statue for the hell of it as well. So we can be more mid-rangey, ramping into our Flourishing Hunter, can always play a Ceremonial Knife and Evolving Wilds. I guess we can even like consider splashing if we're going with this game plan. I guess we might even be sad enough to just play triple Snarling Wolf. Not sure. Because like the only colors I can see pairing with white is either black or green. And again, black is just suffering again from the lack of playables. Like I have some life gain with Courier Bat. Like this is a bomb rare, but it's also just suffering almost. Like green there's not too many ways to gain 1/1 counters too, so this just seems like a really bad draft, honestly. Yeah, this is just looking quite sad. Do I just play a Toxic Scorpion? Maybe I just need to play Snarling Wolves in this deck and just be aggressive enough. Maybe throw in a Bramble Armor that can help us. Maybe just aggro the opponent out. Looking at the creature count, 17 creatures should be enough. Yeah, this is a pretty sad sealed experience. I definitely don't want to open something like this. Looks like complete garbage, and that's what happens sometimes in sealed. And maybe we just keep the lands even split and just play, just curve out and hopefully just get there. Yeah, I'm down to just curve out and hopefully get there. It's a pretty sad seal pool, but whatever, we'll do it. And I think it's 17 lands at least. Like, what cards am I even interested in splashing for in this seal pool? There's nothing much. Like, I can splash maybe a Lacerate Flesh for removal, but even then, it's not even that much of a reliable removal spell. There it is. Splash the Brinecomber. That's also just very medium as a splash target. I don't think I can splash Runo. Yeah, it's just not great. Unfortunately, sometimes seal pools are just crappy like this. Even a Scattered Thoughts, I'm not even going to splash. So it's just going to be white-green beatdown, unfortunately, with triple Snarling Wolf, which is kind of sad. So, yeah, try to run this draft and maybe lose, and then hopefully just, yeah. Maybe hopefully we can get a decent amount of wins. But this is definitely an example of a really bad sealed pool that you don't want to open in a GP. But again, sometimes it happens. You can't always be lucky like my last draft experience. And if this ever happens in a GP, there's always side events you can do. So, facing against a Sorin player. I mean, a Sorin here, so a Johnny versus Sorin. Well, good luck, Selesnya versus Black-White, which is probably a better deck anyways. I don't know, I'm just making assumptions. Seal is all random and variance anyways, so... well, we'll try this opening hand. We have a curve, 1-drop and a 2-drop and a 3-drop. Just kind of have to get lucky in this game and just aggro the opponent out, essentially. And I don't think green-white is the best aggressive deck. Sometimes you have to sadly play the wolf. Maybe we can train onto this, I don't know. So a green-black deck, more of a grindy sort of deck. Sometimes there's a high toughness sort of, there's a high toughness synergy with this, I mean, a high toughness theme in the green-white deck, green-black deck, I mean. So he could play like the 3-mana 2/6. Could see a removal spell here, maybe, I don't know. I guess he's just hovering over it. I don't think there's any removal spells for 2 mana in black and green. I know Wolf Strike is 3 mana, but you still need a creature on the battlefield to really enable it. At least we're curving out, so... There's no flash creatures I need to be aware of, so this is fine. Luckily this has training, so it can eventually become 3 power if I can pump the wolf and keep it around. Or your S-Fall Shield Breaker isn't bad, so opponent's just going to pass a turn, not bad. So just giving us more time. I could pump and go for the Bramble Armor, but I think I'll do that next turn. I feel like I just want to resolve Shield Basher since we're going to trigger training on the Apprentice Sharpshooter anyways. And then next turn this can also just gain Indestructible and start training as well. So I guess sometimes you can just aggro the opponent out, and this is what we're doing. Wow, okay, I mean, sure. I might even do just a quick draft Zendikar Rising, depending on how fast we win or lose. But I really don't think this deck will get to 7. The pool was just really bad. And this is an example of it. Like, I'm not even sure if I even want to play Ceremonial Knife in this type of deck. Like, it does enhance our creatures. I mean, we should have enough 2s in early games that I might as well just play one. I don't really want to throw in a vampire like Slayer here. Or maybe it's better off just playing second Bramble Armor at this point. Like, it's still 1 mana to play, 2 mana to equip, so it's still 3 mana. And it doesn't really provide an impactful stat line. Just +1/+0 isn't great, and I don't really have any blood synergy. Like, maybe if I can deal combat damage, I can connect with it and cycle, but it's also just not impressive. And we should have enough 2s I don't really care about. Yeah, we have enough 1s and 2s, I don't need a Vampire Slayer. And also there's not much I'm interested in splashing. I guess I can always main deck a Crushing Campy, but I'm also just better off maybe just playing Bramble Armor to just aggro the opponent out. Toxic Scorpion is for more of a defensive deck, so yeah, we'll sadly just play double Bramble Armor here. I don't think it's wrong, but it's also just not very impressive. It's pretty expensive as a mana sink, but you might as well play it. So for the Grand Prix, if you have to at least get 6-2 as your record. So if you get more than 2 losses, then you won't make a day 2, and you might as well just do side events. Okay, Thalia is not bad into Resistance Squad. Assuming Thalia survives, but if it costs 1 more to cast, it's not going to be easy, so... If he tries to cast any removal dash, so maybe the opponent's trying to be aggressive as well. Also green-white, so he's pumping, so pretty aggressive start. But he's spending his mana to enhance the Snarling Wolf, so it's not great. He can still free roll me here, because if I block, he can make it into a 3/3, so definitely not going to block here. So I'm probably just going to take it and then play the Resistance Squad. I can also be more aggressive and play Bramble Armor, but just want to get onto the battlefield ASAP, get some value off of Resistance Squad, and find more playables. Spore Crawler. Okay, let's see. Probably still keep this back, because if I attack, I don't really want to trade Resistance Squad off for it. So I'll just play this and just pass the turn. I can block the Snarling Wolf, I guess, and force him to pump for the turn as well. Or I can still take 1. So if I block this and make him use up 2 mana, what can I do next turn? Not much. I can attach a Bramble Armor and attack, but then I'll be down on the blocker, so I'm probably just going to take 1 and then see what I draw next turn. If I can guarantee a land into a 4-drop, I might trade, but if not, then I'm going to just take 1 here. Yeah, we'll just take 1. No big deal. Circle of Confinement maybe on Thalia, sure. So luckily I didn't attack. And this is very interesting. I think it's just 1-drop into 2-drop. If I play Bramble Armor, this still trades. I could also keep up Adamant Will. I'm probably better off just playing out stuff here and seeing what's up. I guess I can place... Yeah, I could just play everything out, and then next turn we can train onto the Parish Training. We have Adamant Will up, and we can also maybe equip onto our creature. So I'm down for just this, and then we can just say go. And find taking another hit from the Snarling Wolf. If Spore Crawler attacks, I'm not sure if I even want to trade. It's kind of interesting. Resistance Squad actually isn't too different from Spore Crawler, except it draws a card right away. Panic Bystander, sure. So opponent's being aggressive here. Do I trade here? So if I pump next turn and I have nothing else, then it's not great, so I think I have to take it. And then I can also just Bramble Armor next turn as well. Could also hold up Adamant Will. If I attack with both of these, he's most likely going to trade with the Panic Bystander. I can also stay back. If I Bramble Armor, then he can't block the 3/2. I can train, but then I only have a 1/1 back on defense. So it's not looking great here. If I put Bramble Armor onto the 3/2, it's not going to do much. So I might just pass the turn and just say go. And then we can still activate the Snarling Wolf to maybe trade for the 3/2 and take it from there. I can also block the 1/1, force it to pump, and then use Adamant Will. The opponent's deck also doesn't look scary. It almost looks like our deck, except he has Circle of Confinement and Spore Crawler, which are all really decent cards. So I could just block the Spore Crawler and pump here. I can also use Adamant Will and hope I don't get blown out. I can also use it pre-combat. The Adamant Will might be more important later, so maybe I'm just going to block here and pump to get this out of the way. And then just force a trade. He still draws a card, but I can't keep taking 3 forever. Like, once I'm able to get my Hookhand Mariner out, maybe I can start attacking. Opponent has his own Resistance Squad, so his deck is just as bad as ours. Makes sense. Right, so we're just going to sack this for our Plains finally. Not ideal. I can attack, but it's unlikely he's going to block because he can just swing back. So maybe this turn I need to use Adamant Will, and then just pass the turn. If I use Bramble Armor, this is only 3 toughness, so it's still gonna trade. So yeah, I still don't know if I should use it. Yeah, I don't think I can afford to attack. I'm too far behind. The expert can maybe start blocking next turn if I get a land. But I'm probably forced to use Adamant Will here. I can also make the Wolf use mana, and then use Adamant Will. Maybe this way he won't be able to cast anything large. Maybe I should use a pre-combat because he could respond with the 1 mana deal 2. Yeah, I should maybe use this pre-combat and then blocked. But I guess it resolves, so we get to make him only use up to 4 mana, take 3. Opponent's still gaining life, so yeah, we're behind. Not a good place to be. Griffwing Cavalry is quite strong. We have Valor Stance, which does nothing. So I'm probably going to attack here and then cast Hookhand Mariner. And then hope he blocks with the 2/2. Opponent doesn't have to block, of course, just takes it. And then we'll be taking 5 in the air. Because let's just say I don't attack, he can still fly over with the Griffwing Cavalry. So I might as well attack and then play the 4-drop. So next turn I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's still not enough for lethal. And he can fly over, train, and then gain a counter with the Cloak Cadet. So we're almost pretty much dead here, guaranteed. And he gets to draw a card here. He also gets a good blocker as well. So even if I Valorous Stance this, he can jump and win. So he wins here. There's not much I can do. Missed too many land drops, and yeah, this deck also just isn't great. So yeah, this is an example of a bad sealed pool, and it does happen. So if you're looking for a video where I can just lose quickly, this is it. So I'm not always perfect. I don't always get 7 wins. I'm not always 100%. I don't think anyone can always be 100%. But I try to do my best. And that's the point of Magic, just doing your best. Trying to at least achieve a high win rate. And maximize your chances of getting there. But you can still lose to the worst decks or worst decks if you don't get your lands, or if you get if the opponent somehow gets lucky. No green mana, but we can fetch for 1, and then we can maybe lead with the Snarling Wolf. A little bit of a clunky hand, but I'm on the draw, so I'll try it. Might just play the Snarling Wolf on turn 2, a little bit mana inefficient. Get the Apprentice Sharpshooter, draw a card with a Resistance Squad. And if we get green mana, I might reconsider. Should I reconsider here? I mean, I can threaten to attack with a Snarling Wolf next turn. Assuming he doesn't play anything. Maybe it's still correct getting the Evolving Wilds out, since a 1 power isn't going to do much. And this can set up better turns. And I can't attack into this anyways if I'm planning to play the Evolving Wilds, so yeah, this is fine. Green mana or white mana? I think green mana, since we have more green spells and we might want a double spell. I can also just play the Investigator's Journal. Sorry about that. But yeah, I could just play the Investigator's Journal. I mean, that's fine. I can get more value later, but I still think I'm going to play it out here. At least this is still draw 2. It's 4 mana draw 2, which isn't bad. And now opponent plays a Voldaren Bloodcaster, definitely a very strong card. Luckily we have Apprentice Sharpshooter to block him for a turn. Imprisonment can be nice once we get to 8 mana, but we'll still play the Apprentice Sharpshooter. Next turn we can draw a card and then play Snarling Wolf and take it from there. Do I block this? I still think I do, because this is just a free roll, right? Yeah, I think I'll go for it. So here I have an interesting decision. Do I want to trade Resistance Squad and maybe develop the Hookhand Mariner? If he has removal, that can be kind of annoying. But if I try to Bramble Armor onto this and he has removal, that's also pretty annoying. So I guess I could just attack with both. He could block, I can threaten to pump, and he can blow me out. But then I still have a follow-up play. I can still draw a card or play Bramble Armor. And I'm fine trading the 3-2 for the 2-2 for now. I think I need to be aggressive. I guess he can make a blood token with the if a trade happens, so I'm not sure if that was correct, but I think I need to get aggressive while I can. And then if he's just going to take it like this, I'll let damage happen and play the which is a fine 4-drop, probably the second best green common behind Wolfstrike. And if he's going to concede, then that can give us a decent victory to make up for the gems if this Sealed goes sour. So alright, Snarling Wolf actually playable. That's funny, triple Snarling Wolf. Opponent doesn't even consider blocking, just knows that he's going to lose if he doesn't have anything to play, and he probably didn't have anything to play, so... Surprised he didn't even offer to trade with the 2-2. I guess he couldn't deal with the Hookhand Mariner, and the Apprentice Sharpshooter was just going to just keep growing, so... I guess we're the lucky ones, but this deck is still pretty abysmal compared to the other stuff you could face against in this set. Panic Bystander maybe can curve out into Resistance Squad, assuming we can get a land. So I'll keep it. Maybe might lead with the Parish Blade Trainee. I mean, but the Panic Bystander hits harder, I guess. I wish this card was, I mean, yeah, I wish we had Mentor. I don't know. The fact that I can't really attack with this is a little bit concerning. So I'm probably going to play a Panic Bystander first because it hits harder and it's a better stat line. But if I can get land and curve out with the Resistance Squad, that'd be pretty ideal. So blue-white deck. Should I attack into this? There could be loads of tricks. So I think I'll just play the Parish Blade Trainee and pass. Because if this ends up dying, I won't be able to put a counter onto this. So I'm just going to pass the turn here and also miss my land drop. So I can't really afford to attack and not get value from this Blood Parish Blade Trainee. Because again, he could have some sort of trick. I guess he would use it on the Parish Blade Trainee in response once I train into it, but this is a lot safer, I think. And if I do lose both my humans, that's a little bit of a problem. But I guess blue-white doesn't really have any destroy effects outside the 2 mana ability. I'm hoping he misses land drop here. And he did, okay. So there is a chance. I think I'll lead with the Resistance Squad first and see what's up. There's no 2-mana counterspell unless he's a Spirit. But he's holding priority, so there's a chance he could have the 1-mana deal 2. I'm still going to attack this turn and bait it out at least. I still get to gain a life when Perish Blade Trainee dies. And if he lets his counter resolve, then he needs to have the 2-mana destroy effect, but he doesn't, so alright. I guess we're going to choose the opponent out again if he's missing his land drops. Finally gets his 3rd land, okay. Into a Brian Comber, which is pretty strong. He's making 2 bodies, but we can still train onto this Perish Blade Trainee next turn. And he still needs to maybe do a double block to stay alive. Can't really double spell the Bramble Armor. I think I'd have to play the Hokan Mariner, but I'm happy to attack here. Grow this into a 3/4, and it's nice when this dies you can move counters around, so I also think this card is fine. Yeah, 4/4 can now train this into 4 power, so opponent needs to find a removal spell or something here. Next turn, probably Apprentice Sharpshooter, maybe Bramble Armor. Valor Stance, okay. Might see a double block on the 3/2, but if he's going to tap it here, then he's most likely not blocking. And that's fine with me. Yeah, let's just get the Apprentice out. And I think I'll play Bramble Armor to be very aggressive. And which one do I want to put it on? I think the Resistance Squad, because he can just double block it, and then by having more power I can train the Perish Blade Trainee even more eventually, so. And the Festivities I think is 5 mana, so I should be able to not overcommit here, hopefully. I can just attack and maybe not play anything out next turn just to be safe. So luckily the seal pools that we're facing also aren't very scary. A Repository Scob, so we can get back the Valorous Stance. And then he can also trade for my 5/3, which can be kind of annoying. I'm still going to attack with Vol because he's forced to trade with the 5/3. So, if I move the equipment around, what does that do? Let's say if he blocks here, he's dead. If he blocks here, he's still dead. So either way, I think he's still dead. Let's just move to combat and attack with Vol. Right? Yeah, he needs 2 blockers here, and then he tapped his Ministrant. So, yep, good games. If he blocks our best creature, he's still dead. Sometimes you just cheese them out, and that's what you have to do if your seal pool sucks. In the Grand Prix, it will be best out of 3, so sideboard is definitely very important as well. Alright, we got a Mastery Orb. Don't know what color to pick and choose, but let's figure it out after we finish the Sealed. The Sanguine Statuette, which is this card that we're seeing here, this picture is also pretty good in the Blood decks. It's a 3/3 haste if you sacrifice a blood token. So this card is also just quite good. For 2 mana, for 1 generic, 1 red, you can cast it, makes a blood token, and when you sacrifice a blood token, it's a 3/3 haste. Unfortunately, it doesn't gain flying. If it did, it'd be more busted, but it's a good card. This card here. Minister into Perish Trainee. Yeah, we'll try it. And then we can even Investigator's Journal if we want to. Luckily, we're hitting our lands. So Perish Blade Trainee is going to be a little bit weird unless I attach like a Bramble Armor into the Ministrant. Could see a Gift of Fangs here. I think I'm happy just gaining life. Or attacking, since this deck wants to end the game, but do I want to gain a life or do I want to attack? I mean, I guess since we are kind of an aggressive deck, and this deck also lacks power level, we might want to get aggressive here. Because I don't think this is a deck that wants to reach the late game. From what I'm seeing, so... Probably see removal, maybe. Flame Blessed Bolt. Desperate Farmer is kind of annoying. He's attacking into this. I mean, I guess he wants to transform this, so... I mean, I could block it and still use Sigarda's Imprisonment next turn, although I don't get to grow the Perish Blade Trainee. I could also Bramble Armor into my Traveling Minister and offer to trade and grow the Perish Blade Trainee. Maybe save this for something annoying later. But if I block this now and use a Sigarda's Imprisonment, that's actually not that bad at all. Maybe I just want to start training. Let's take one. Yeah, I just want to start training here. Let's just equip here, maybe offer to trade for 2/2, which I'm fine with. And then smash. Save this for something else. He could just take it, but we will be hitting back for 5. And then next turn we can also Investigator's Journal and draw a card if we don't want to use the Imprisonment. Maybe see a removal spell here, but we can move the counters onto Traveling Ministrant, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, opponent's being aggressive. The lifelink is annoying, but again, we're still doing a lot of damage. So we could just see a Bleed Dry here. I still think I'm going to attack. We can see a pre-combat. Okay, a Flame Blessed Bolt. I mean, I can also just equip the Bramble Armor and say go. Since it would then make a pretty good blocker, so no attacks. I think I'll equip here. Making a 4/4 to halt the opponent. And I'm kind of getting greedy with this, but it's okay. I don't think I'm blocking. Opponent still passes the turn, does nothing. So I guess I'll just Investigator's Journal for now. And then still hold on to his Imprisonment. We can draw a card end of turn. I'm not really afraid of taking one per turn. The opponent's deck doesn't look very aggressive. It's just very grindy. With the Persistent and then the Desperate Farmer. And this can potentially answer something scarier than just a Desperate Farmer. And we can also just draw into a second creature next turn, so doing this isn't too bad. I can attack and then draw a second creature, put up a better blocker. So, oops. Oops. Oh my god, I misclicked. That was stupid. That was really stupid. Oh, that's dumb. I could have kept it around, but I accidentally misclicked the second one, so could have drew another card there, but due to the fact that I don't know how to play the game, this is what happens. Do I Imprisonment here? I mean, I'll play the Panic Bystander and maybe take the turn off, not sure. Maybe we can offer to trade with the Panic Bystander. So I could attack here, offer to trade. He could also have Sure Strike. I still think I have to hold on to this. Or maybe just use it now, attack for 4, but he could have Bleed Dry. You know what? I'm going to do right now. Yeah, I could have gotten an extra counter on that study, but I freaking misclicked. So yeah, I make misplays all the time, so... Let's see after this game what card we could have drawn if we lost. You can keep chumping with this and bringing this back as well, which is also really annoying. So next turn, hopefully I can exile this and make a blood token. We'll see. So I feel like he might have a sure strike. I'm fine with this. Just 2 lands I don't care about. He could be holding up sure strike again. That's an interesting attack. Do I block? Probably still take it. I can move the equipment onto the bystander and start training on the Perish Blade trainee, so I think that's fine. I think he has maybe a removal spell here, maybe a Flame Blessed Bolt. Just a Snarling Wolf, so I could still activate the Bramble Armor here. And I think I will. Maybe force him to use the removal spell, and then attack, and then hopefully, yeah, if he kills this, then I can move the counters onto the Panic Bystander, which I don't mind. Maybe I should main phase the Snarling Wolf first, but we could see a Flame Blessed Bolt here. Yes, we do. We see it. So I can still attack for 4, which isn't bad. And then we can cast Snarling Wolf next turn and move the equipment. Surprised the opponent's even attacking at all with the Persistent Specimen. Okay, this is pretty annoying. But I can still move the equipment onto the Snarling Wolf, attack, and train. Cloak Cadet is pretty nice. Might want to play this first. So maybe I'm better off just attacking with the Perish Blade trainee for now. Or not. He could have Sure Strike here, but I think I'm fine attacking and then playing the Cloak Cadet. Because I do need to get in for damage. So he's probably going to chump here, or maybe see in a Braid. Yeah, he can just bring it tapped. He can transform this, but it's locked down, luckily. And then Cloak Cadet can start training and drawing us cards. So also luckily the opponent doesn't really have that much of a scary deck. Playing cards like Aim for the Head and Persistent Skeleton. Could see a Bleed Dry, so I gotta be careful of that too. I could also just attack with these 2 next turn. The ideal would be to move the Bramble Armor onto the Snarling Wolf, and then we can train everyone. I guess this is only a 2-1, so it's not that great. So I guess moving this onto this isn't that great at all. So hopefully he's out of stuff, we'll see. Land isn't what we want, so I think we need to draw a card. So I could just attack with these 2. He double blocks or triple blocks. We can take out the Fearful Villager. It has to be put on a human. Huh. So I could just Bramble Armor here instead and attack. This is going to become a 3/4, which you can still block, annoyingly enough. So I might just pump the Snarling Wolf and just attack with both. I don't know, let's just do this main phase and see what's up. Yeah, I think this is correct. And this only triggers once each turn, so I might as well just do this instead. He can double block the wolf, I can take out the Fearful Villager, and then I might play another Bramble Armor or exile the Depraved Harvester end of turn to get a blood token for next turn. And then we can suit up with another Bramble Armor and start drawing cards. But I think this play is correct. And if he triple blocks this, I guess if he's just chumping, that's fine. Okay. So I could cast a spell to prevent this from transforming. Do I want to do that? This becomes a 4/3 next turn. Not really. So if I'm going to play the Bramble Armor, Actually, I think we transform because I might want to be mana efficient and just exile this Depraved Harvester end of turn. So yeah, unfortunately this becomes a 4-3, which can then trade for the 4-4. But then again, we have Bramble Armor, which might force him to do a double block next turn. So opponent's looking in the graveyard, not sure what he's looking at. So we could have an extra card with the Investigator's Journal by now. But I made that dumb misplay of clicking the second activated ability, and there was no way I could say oops and take that back. If we see a removal spell, that's going to be annoying. Olivia's a bomb. So it returns, and then when you don't control legendary vampire, you exile it. That's kind of stupid. So he can essentially, luckily he doesn't have any creatures in the yard, so he might just keep it back as a random blocker, which I'm okay with. And if he attacks, that's fine. He can't really kill me since my life total is higher than his. He can bring back the Fearsome Vampire, but we could even double spell next turn to turn daytime if he isn't careful. I think I activate it. Yep. I think I have to do that. I mean, otherwise my Snarling Wolf will be dead. I can play a Hookhand Mariner. So now what? I could Bramble Armor onto the Snarling Wolf and then attack with Fall. Yeah, I think that's fine. So then this also threatens to pump. And then, I mean, I could just do this main phase. Why not? So I can also just... No, actually, it's already over. I accidentally clicked too fast, so yeah, that sucks. I could have also made this into a 5-5. Actually, yeah, the triggers on the stack messed this one up. So Perish Blade Trainee could just die here, which could suck. I guess I have Adamant Will, so that's even better. And he might be forced to chump here. I guess I can pump this, he can buy it back. He can also just block and chump as well. So I can just pump here and that's fine. He can attack and bring it back, but again, that's still okay. Opponents also playing Jank cards like End the Festivity and Aim for the Head. We'll just activate the Snarling Wolf here. Unfortunately, none of our creatures have Trample, but we're still doing well. And then we'll just pass the turn. If he attacks with Olivia, the creature comes in tapped, so he doesn't get an extra blocker. Not sure what this implies. I mean, if he brings back the Fearful Villager, it's still daytime, so I still have a pretty high life total, so I think it's just his way of saying GG's. Don't know if there's any burn spells in red. Yeah, the opponent's just giving up. Okay, so luckily there's not too many scary players in this sealed environment, so I'll take the free wins. Bolivia was a scary card for sure. I'll also mute now since I need to eat a bit, so one moment. Yeah, the opponent has some green bombs here, but I think the heart's blue splash was a little bit awkward. He also forgot I could have exile his wolf in response, so his mirror hall mimic doesn't get to stick on the battlefield. So I was kind of afraid of him being able to copy my Flourishing Hunter, but I had the um, the removal spell in my hand to answer it. The Valor Stance, the removal spell to answer it if he decides to copy my Flourishing Hunter. He also couldn't gain life, so a bit of a strange deck the opponent was playing. Um, Surprised I even got there, honestly. But yeah, sometimes you just cheese the opponent out, and that's what we're doing with this type of sealed deck. Just punish them for trying to go 3 colors. And I'm really surprised this actually is getting a good amount of wins, since I wasn't expecting this to be 5-1. But it goes to show sometimes you can either get really lucky or face against other people who don't know how to really build a optimal pool. Not saying the opponent last game didn't do it, but the ones prior didn't. Some of them just conceded, and even with bomb rares like Olivia, they still concede, which is kind of sad, so to speak. So we'll keep playing. Could go Foreboding Statue, since that can set up some better turns. We can play the Apprentice Sharpshooter and then activate the Investigator Journal. Like, sure, I'll be taking a little bit more damage than usual, but I think it's fine just giving me access to more mana in case I hit my land drops. So I could also play the Apprentice Sharpshooter. Like, the worst case scenario, I can block this, and I can still Resistance Squad to draw a card. Maybe that's better. Since it's not guaranteed I'll get a land drop next turn, and if I play this Foreboding Statue, I might miss out on just drawing a card and starting to enable training right away. So, opponent also missed the land drop as well. So, Windblade guy's pretty strong. Maybe we can block if Adamant will eventually. So if he attacks, I'm just going to block the 1/1. So we got a land anyways. I still think I'm going to play the Resistance Squad here and draw a card. Makes it more likely I get another land. Maybe should have kept up green mana so I can play a Snarling Wolf, so I wasn't paying attention there. That was definitely a bit of a misplay. Since I for sure have 3 Snarling Wolves, but I still didn't keep up my green. Just playing things out, not thinking. Like the noob I am, so. Do I block here? Maybe I don't. Very interesting. If he enhances this, what happens? I don't think I actually blocked this. This is a little bit strange. I think he just wants to get his aura out, and then we can play land. I think I'll attack and start training here. Maybe I should play this pre-combat to draw a card. So that was also a bit of maybe a misplay, a blunder I did. Maybe I just play another resistance squad here and just keep drawing cards. And then we can keep up the activate ability from Investigator's Journal and, and the Adamant Will. This way it can look less embarrassing. Question is, do I block this now? Maybe. Or maybe I can still take 2 and I can keep swinging back. I might block this. Or not. Like, again, I'm not in dire need of doing so. Yeah, let's just take 2. I'm outracing the opponent anyways, and I have a lot of pressure, so worst case scenario, he double blocks and he loses, and he 2-for-1s himself, so I think this is fine, and then we can click on the right one and draw a card. Gotta be careful of counter spells, which he could have. I don't think I want to main deck a Cloak Cadet here, because again, he could be holding up a counter spell. I think I'm fine just attacking with all and enable training. And then if he tries to use the destroy card creature, we can use Adamant Will in response. Or if he double blocks, that's fine. To see the opponent use his own Adamant Will, am I fine with that? I think I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think I'm fine. I don't really need to keep 3-2 around. And then I guess now we can play the Cloak Cadet. And then, yeah, we'll play the Cloak Cadet now that he's tapped out. Even though I could have drawn a card, I think I have enough card advantage, I should be fine. And I'm fine taking 2 again, since we should be ahead in this race. I should have done this earlier so I can start drawing cards, but yeah. My opponent not hitting his land drops. Even though I wasn't playing, yeah, I wasn't playing optimally in that game for sure. Should definitely kept up 1 green mana to lead with a Snarling Wolf, and I should have also played Cloak Cadet the turn I was going to attack with the Resistance Squad and training, the Training Apprentice, so I could draw a card, so. But yeah, somehow we managed to go 6-1 with this sealed pool. Definitely not an exciting sealed, but yeah. Pretty lucky. I really don't think this is a great deck, guys. Definitely not optimal and not ideal. But, you know, sometimes you just run away with some games.